Okay, today we are going to start with terms used in electrolysis. Terms used in electrolysis. Okay, first one is resistance. Okay, first one is resistance. Here the resistance is something different which you normally study in other subject and other chapters. Okay, normally resistance is hindrance offered. That up to that everybody know. But here in this chapter, resistance is hindrance offered. Okay, hindrance offered up to here it is also same. Okay, but there only it changes. Hindrance offered to there normally it is flow of ions. Now here it is flow of flow of electrons is normally, and here it is flow of ions. Okay, hindrance offered to the flow of ions is called as resistance. Resistance is just a opposing force. What is hindrance? It is just a opposing force. Okay. Now this resistance is almost everybody know that it is denoted with R. Okay. Now here the resistance depends upon the structural features. Resistance depends upon what? Structural features. How? Here, suppose we got a electrolytic tub. Okay, here we are talking about the electrolysis. Everybody should be aware of it. In electrolysis, there will be only electrolytic tub, one electrolytic tub. Normally, if it is electrochemical cell, then there will be two electrolytic tubs. One will be for oxidation, another will be for reduction. Okay. Now here, when both of them are connected through the electrode, okay, with the battery. Now this ion, let us take this is positive ion, this is negative ion. Okay, positive ion reaches to negative, negative ion reaches to positive. Okay, so here negative ion when it reaches, it depends upon the two factor, how much distance it is. Okay, and how area. Okay, that means resistance depends upon how many things. Distance. Okay, first is the distance, second is area. Okay, so let us take this electrode. Instead of keeping it here, if I am keeping it somewhere away from it, okay, then what happens? It has to travel more distance, then more will be the hindrance offered to it. Understood? That means distance increases, resistance increases. Okay, so first directly proportional to distance. Then instead of keeping it far the distance, I am keeping it same place only, but instead of making it such a small size, I am making it as a big one. Okay, I am making it a big one. Now because of this, what happens? More number of ions at a time can reach over it. Okay, that means area increased, then convenience increased. That means hindrance automatically decreased. Okay, so that means inversely proportional to area. Resistance is inversely proportional to area. Area of what? Electrode. And which area? Surface area. Okay. So that means resistance depends upon how many factors? Two factors. Okay. So normally resistance units and here resistance units both are same. Okay. Units of resistance are ohm. Okay. Denoted with like this sign. Understood? Now here instead of resistance, we can use another term. Okay, by using these two, we can write as R is directly proportional to L, where L is what? Distance. What is L here? Distance. Okay, and inversely proportional to A. What is A here? Area. Okay, which area? Surface area. Which surface area? Surface area of electrodes. Surface area of electrodes. These are the two factors which affect structural features of the. These are the two factors from what? From structural features of the electrolytic cell. So instead of writing both separately, we can write it as a common R directly proportional to L by A. Then R is equal to rho into L by A. Okay, R is equal to rho into L by A. Here there are new two terms are used. Here we are going to study about the terms only. First term everybody is aware now, resistance and what factor it is going to depend. Okay. Now coming to the second two terms we are going to start. Okay. What is the second term? L by A. What is L by A? L by A is called as cell constant. What it is called as? Cell constant. Okay. So cell constant is sometimes denoted with G star. What is denoted with the G star? Okay. Why it is called cell constant? Till the time once a cell is electrolytic cell is manufactured, the distance is going to be fixed, area of electrode is going to be fixed. That's why for a given value, for a given electrolytic cell, these values are constant. That's why it is called as cell constant. That's why it is called as what? Cell constant. Cell constant is L by A. Okay. And what can be the units? What can be the units? Cell constant units. Suppose it is meter and it is meter square. Okay. So it is meter inverse 1. Cell constant unit will be in the numerator it is meter, in the denominator it is meter square. So total it is going to be meter inverse 1. How it is going to be? Meter inverse 1. Is it understood? Second term cell constant. And third term we are going to discuss about the rho. Okay. Rho is called as a resistivity. What it is called as? Resistivity. Okay. Resistivity definition is from the formula itself. As I told you, R is equal to rho into L by A. So, if this total term becomes 1, if this total term becomes 1, then resistance becomes equal to rho. Okay. So, resistivity is defined as resistance is defined as resistance. Okay. Resistivity is equal to resistance. Okay. Resistivity is the resistance offered. Okay. Resistance offered. But what condition it should satisfy? When electrodes are separated by electrodes are separated by electrodes are separated by 1 unit distance. How much distance? 1 unit distance. So by this word, what I am making 1, numerator I am making it as a 1. Okay. 1 unit distance. Okay. Electrodes. By electrodes with 1 unit square. Okay. What it should be? 1 unit square. 1 unit square surface area. What should be? Surface area should be how much? 1. Okay. Surface area should be how much? 1. Is it understood? So resistivity is defined as resistance offered. Resistance offered when electrodes are separated by 1 unit distance to make numerator 1 by electrodes. Now it is coming to the denominator with 1 unit surface area. So once this become 1 and 1 this become 1, then resistance is equal to resistivity. Is it understood? So until unless you don't know the resistance, you cannot find out the resistivity. What are the units of resistivity now? So resistivity unit already this you know what it is. This is ohm. Okay, rho you don't know, and these units are meter inverse 1. So when it comes here, rho into meter. Okay, that will become the resistivity units. Okay, resistivity units will be ohm into meter, ohm meter. Is it understood? So how it is derived, I think now it is clear. Okay. So total how many terms we have studied? We have studied the 3 terms. What are those 3 terms? Resistance, cell constant, third term is resistivity. Resistance, cell constant and resistivity. Okay. Resistance, resistivity and cell constant. Okay, 3 terms. Then fourth term we are going to study. Fourth term we are going to study, that is called as conductance. conductance. Okay, conductance is denoted by G. Okay, you have to take care. Cell constant is with G star and conductance is with the G. Okay, so it is just reciprocal. Okay, simple definition. Reciprocal of resistance. Reciprocal of resistance is called as conductance. Okay, so formula will be G is equal to 1 by R. Okay, so 1 by R, that means units will be 1 by ohm. What will be units? 1 by ohm, otherwise 1 by OHM. Okay, so but 1 by OHM is also called as MHO. OMH, MHO. Okay. MHO is also called as Siemens. S stands for here Siemens. These are the units of conductance. These are the units of what? Conductance. Okay. The conductance, is it understood? Conductance, how many units are there? MHO are 1 by ohm are Siemens. One MHO itself is called as 1 Siemens. Okay. Next, after this one, next coming to the next term, fifth term, we are going to start. That fifth term is conductivity. Fifth term is what? Conductivity. Okay. Conductivity is denoted with K, kappa. Okay. Conductivity. This is called pronounced as kappa. Okay, so kappa is conductivity. It is just, it is also definition part also very easy. Okay, reciprocal of resistivity. Reciprocal of resistivity is called as conductivity. Reciprocal of resistivity is called as conductivity. That means K is equal to 1 by resistivity what? 1 by rho. Okay, so now I think already this is ohm meter. Okay, so this is going to be Siemens meter inverse. What are the units going to be? Siemens and meter inverse conductivity. Is it understood, students? Okay, this is about the conductivity. Okay, next terms we are going to use is effect of concentration on conductivity. Okay, so effect, study of effect of concentration. Okay, effect of concentration on conductivity. Okay, so depending on the effect of concentration, they are divided into how many types? Two types. They are divided into how many types? Two types. Okay, first one is molar conductivity, second one is equivalent conductivity. Okay, so molar conductivity, here concentration should be in molarity, and equivalent conductivity concentration should be in normality. Concentration should be in normality. When concentration expressed in normality, then we use equivalent conductivity. When concentration is expressed in molarity, then we use molar conductivity. Okay, so molar conductivity is equal to K into 1000 by molarity. Okay, this is the formula for molar conductivity. Okay, now second one is equivalent conductivity. Okay, equivalent conductivity is lambda eq. Okay, so lambda is equal to is K into again kappa into 1000 divided by, in place of molarity it is going to be normality. It is going to be normality. Okay, effect of concentration is studied under how many patterns? Two patterns. In terms of the molarity, another will be in terms of the equivalent conductivity. Okay, so equivalent conductivity deals with the normality, whereas molar conductivity deals with the molarity. Okay, better accuracy you will find in equivalent conductivity. Better accuracy where you will find? In the equivalent conductivity you will find. Okay, now as I told you, this is going to study about the equivalent conductivity. Okay, so equivalent conductivity can be further explained with the help of the graph, and there will be two terminology. Okay, so let us take, this is the square root of concentration. Okay, this is the square root of concentration. Okay, now with this we are going to study about the graphical representation. What we are going to study? Graphical representation. Okay, so here this molar conductivity on the y-axis and square root of the concentration on x-axis. Okay, that means we are increasing the concentration we are increasing. We are studying the molar conductivity. Okay, so when it is experimentally changed concentration and its molar conductivity is noted and drawn a graph. Okay, so some electrolytes are showing graph like this, okay, and some electrolytes are showing graph like this. Some electrolytes are showing graph like this, okay. So maximum there are how many types of graphs? Two types of graphs, okay. Either they are linear graphs or they are curve graphs, okay. So with this they could conclude that means both are decreasing only. With increase in concentration, molar conductivity decreases. Okay, simple formula itself says K into 1000 divided by molarity. Molarity increases, this decreases. But the decrease is not same. Here in some electrolyte, see, if I am making this as extended, so from here to here, I am making change, same concentration change. But in this electrolyte, see how much molar conductivity is changed. This much molar conductivity changed. But here, there is almost negligible change. Only this much decrease is there. And here, this much decrease is there. Okay. So such electrolyte variation. Okay. So the electrolyte which show less variation, further change in concentration in its molar conductivity, they are called as strong electrolyte. What they are called as? Strong electrolytes. Okay. So like this graph when you obtain, that means you should understand this electrolyte for which we have constructed is a strong electrolyte. Okay. If they are showing large variation, that means it is a weak electrolyte. What it is? Weak electrolyte. And what are weak electrolyte? What are strong electrolyte? Already I have told you in my first lecture of electrochemistry. Okay. So the substances, the electrolyte whose degree of dissociation is large enough. Okay, then it is called strong electrolyte. Otherwise, it is called as a weak electrolyte. Okay. Further, if you got any doubt on this topic, you can view that videos. Introduction to electrochemistry. Okay. So strong electrolyte and weak electrolyte. Is it understood? So the electrolyte whose variation is linear and variation quantity is less is called as a strong electrolyte, whereas the electrolyte whose variation is very less, sorry, variation is very large and shows a curvy liner, okay, curve like variation, then they are called as weak electrolyte. Why? Because in weak electrolyte the alpha is very very less, so they are providing less amount of ions. Okay, so once you put the more water, then alpha will increase, dilution will increase the degree of dissociation. Okay, that also this value also I've shown, I've told you in the first lecture only. Okay, degree of dissociation and how it is varying. So degree of dissociation increases with increase in dilution. So dilution increases, concentration decreases. So lower concentration, higher number of ions, higher will be molar conductivity. Higher concentration means less dilution, lower will be conductivity. There is a lot of confusion in this. Conductance and conductivity both shows opposite variation. See, conductance and conductivity both appear to be same or not, but their variation are different. Okay. Now with this graph, at least you could understand that conductivity inversely proportional to concentration. Okay. Conductivity, okay, inversely proportional to concentration. If the right side concentration is increasing, value is coming like this. Okay, but if I talk about the conductance, Conductance. Here conductivity is only for mole. Okay. Directly proportional to concentration. Directly proportional to concentration. Okay. So that is the variation. Conductance and conductivity that you have to, based on this point, there are many questions framed. So while solving the numericals, while solving the conceptual questions, you should keep it in mind. Okay. Now there is a special word called as Grothus conductance. What conductance? Grothus. Okay. Grothus conductance. Grothus conductance. Very, very important term. Okay. Especially for the recent examination pattern, it is more important. Okay. Grothus conductance means small ions like H plus can show good conductance. Okay. By jumping from one molecule to another molecule. Suppose this is one molecule, this is another molecule. Okay. If from one molecule to another molecule, if they normally move from here to here, it will take time. Okay. But H plus being small in size, it jumps from here to here. So because of this jumping, the speed is more. Okay. So because of that, there is an improvement in the conductance. Such type of conductance observed by the jumping is called as Grothus conductance. Okay. It is shown by which element? It is shown by the H positive. It is shown by what? H positive. Okay. Now coming to the molar conductivity and ionic conductivity. Okay. So that is electrolytic equivalent conductivity. Now I am taking as a reference of this one. I think you can understand this. It is which electrolyte? Strong electrolyte. Okay. Linear variation means strong electrolyte. So if if I increase this line, interpolate line, then it is going to be intersecting y-axis. What value I have taken in the previous graph? Here it is molar conductivity. What it is? Square root of C. Okay. Now this point is called as molar conductivity at infinite dilution. What it is called as? Molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Okay. Molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Alpha here infinity shows amount of solvent with respect to the solute. What does it shows? Amount of solvent with respect to the solute, it is almost infinite. That means the dilution is such high. Okay. Or sometimes they represent it as a zero also. Here their meaning of them, internal meaning is same, but way of representing is opposite. Why? Because here they wanted to say with respect to solute, amount of solute is almost zero in comparison to solvent. Here what they wanted to say, here amount of solvent is almost infinite in comparison to solute. This shows the quantity of solvent, this shows the quantity of solute. Okay. So this is the molar conductivity with respect to concentration variation. Out of them, which is going to be high? It is always going to be high. C, highest value. Understood? Molar conductivity at infinite dilution is always greater than molar conductivity at any other concentration. Here what it is? C. C means concentration. Suppose at this concentration, this value is molar conductivity at, suppose let us take it is 0.1 molarity. So 0.1 molarity. Understood? So here this value is this much, this value is this much. Okay. Molar conductivity at infinite dilution is always greater than molar conductivity at any other concentration. Is it understood? So more amount of water, more will be degree of dissociation, more will be the conductivity. So this is used for finding out the alpha value. Okay. Alpha is equal to molar conductivity at the given concentration divided by molar conductivity at the infinite dilution. This cannot reach more than this. This is the final value. Okay. This is the value achieved at the given concentration. Okay. So this is the relation between degree of dissociation and molar conductivity at the given concentration and infinite dilution. Is it understood? So such attempts were made for the weak electrolyte also. Okay, such attempts were made for the weak electrolytes also, but they failed. Why? Because that you will come to know with this graph. Okay, so on the same graph, if I draw it for the weak electrolyte, okay, for the weak electrolyte, if I draw, see, I will be keep on interpolating this, but it is never going to intersect with the y-axis. Okay, so this is for which electrolyte? Weak electrolyte. Okay, for weak electrolyte, can we find out? So for weak electrolyte, can we find out molar conductivity at infinite dilution? Cannot be found by this method. By the interpolation method, we cannot find. Why? Because it is becoming parallel to which axis? Y axis. So until unless it don't intersect, we cannot get as we got it in the strong electrolyte. So this was the problem with the weak electrolyte. Okay, till that day, till that day. Okay, so weak electrolyte infinite dilution could not be experimentally determined and neither in the graphical method also. Okay, experimentally why it is not possible? Molar conductivity at infinite dilution or molar conductivity at zero concentration. Zero concentration means solute is zero. Without dissolving the solute, how can you find out this conductivity? Okay, so experimentally this was the problem. Graphically, parallelly, it becomes parallel to the y-axis. That's why it is also problem. Okay, so that problem is cracked. That problem is solved by the scientist called as Corlash. Okay, what scientist? Corlash. Okay, Corlash law. He proposed a law. With that law, now we are able to find out molar conductivity of weak electrolyte at infinite dilution also. Okay, so according to Corlash law, what he said, molar conductivity at infinite dilution of a electrolyte, suppose AB, okay, is equal to sum of the ionic conductivity, is equal to sum of the ionic conductivity. Understood? He says that its conductivity is not affected what they are associated with. Understood? So the independent migration, what it is called as independent migration. Okay, A conductivity will be fixed. Conductivity shown by A will be fixed irrespective of the element with which it is attached. Okay, that means A, this lambda A positive, this is ionic conductivity, this is molar conductivity, this is connected to all entire molecule, this is related to only A positive, this is related to only B negative. Okay, that means its performance is not affected by the negative ion. Same way, negative ion performance is not affected by A positive. That was the Coriolis law. Now you may think that how it is possible by this law to find out molar conductivity of weak electrolyte with infinite dilution. Okay, so that was application. Okay, Coriolis law is something else and application solution is different. Okay, Coriolis law, is it understood? Molar conductivity of an electrolyte is equal to sum of the ionic conductivities. Okay, ionic conductivities are shown by lambda and molar conductivities are shown by inverted Vm. Is it understood? So Vm. Okay. So first application, the very first application is to find out what you have to find out, to find out molar conductivity at infinite dilution of weak electrolyte. Which electrolyte? Weak electrolyte can be determined. How it is possible? I am taking an example here. Okay, Coriolis law statement now I think everybody understood. Okay, now for weak electrolyte, how you could find out? Let us suppose if I wanted to find CS3COOH molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Okay, So for this purpose, I require three chemicals. What are those three chemicals I will take? Sodium acetate. First chemical I will take is sodium acetate. Okay. Second chemical I will use is HCl. Third chemical I will use is NaCl. Okay. This is strong, and this is also strong. By using these three strong electrolytes, I already know their infinite conductivity. Those values can be used for determining molar conductivity of acetic acid also. How it is, I will tell you. Okay, with the equation. So molar conductivity at infinite dilution of CS3 C double bond ONA is equal to lambda CS3 COO minus, okay, at infinite dilution, plus according to which law? Coriolis law. Okay. So it is Na plus. This is also at infinite dilution. Okay. Now what we can find out? Molar conductivity at infinite dilution of second thing, HCl. Okay. Is equal to, according to this law, it is lambda infinity of H plus lambda infinity of Cl minus. Okay. And third equation we can write it for the NaCl, molar conductivity at infinite dilution of NaCl. Okay. Is equal to lambda infinity of Na positive plus lambda infinity of Cl negative. Okay. So by these three equations, let it I am taking as 1, 2 and 3. Okay. By using these three equation, I wanted to find out which value, this value. Okay. So according to Coriolis law, we can form this equation by molar conductivity at infinite dilution of weak electrolyte CS3COOH is equal to lambda of H plus lambda infinity of CS3COO minus. Is it understood, students? So for this, what I will use, where I will get H positive value from the equation 3. Okay. Plus this I will get from where? Equation 2. This value we can experimentally find out or with the graph. Okay. But when I take this for this equation for the sake of H plus, I am compelled to use Cl minus also. For the sake of this, if I am using, I am getting Na positive also along. So these two are not required. For this, what I will do, subtract it with the equation 1. Okay. These three values are graphically determined with the help of the graph and written here. Okay. Ultimately, I am getting what? Weak electrolyte. Ultimately, what I am getting? Weak electrolyte. Molar conductivity of weak electrolyte. Is it understood? So this is the first application. First application of Coriolis law now understood. It is used to find out molar conductivity of weak electrolyte at infinite dilution. Okay. Second thing we can use it for finding out the degree of dissociation. Okay. Degree of dissociation is molar conductivity at the given concentration. This can be determined, not a problem. In the previous application I told you, we can find out alpha also at infinite dilution. So with that you will find out alpha. Okay. So third application, we can use it for calculation of dissociation constant. What we can find out? Dissociation constant of acid, that is Ka. Ka formula in ionic equilibrium lecture I told you is equal to C alpha square. Okay. Ka is equal to C alpha square. There is a lecture of ionic equilibrium with the Ostwald dilution law. Okay. So in that lecture I have explained about this derivation also. Ka is equal to C alpha square. Is it understood? So here Ka is equal to C means concentration of acid. And here from this, just first application is used in the second application. Second application is used in the third application. Okay. So here alpha is molar conductivity at the given concentration divided by molar conductivity at infinite dilution whole square. So like this you can find out dissociation constant of weak acid. What you can find out? Dissociation constant of what? Weak acid you can find out. Okay. Any doubt about this? Next we can also use for solubility product. Okay. What you can find out? Solubility product. Molar conductivity at infinite dilution is equal to K into 1000 divided by whatever the molarity is there, that itself is called as solubility. Solubility, with the help of the solubility, what you can find out? KSP, solubility product. Okay, because this is the maximum possible. This much amount we cannot dissolve. Okay, so whenever it is equilibrium, that molarity itself is called as a solubility. So these are the four applications of Corlash law. Corlash law got how many applications? Four applications. What are those? First one is to find out. First one is to find out molar conductivity of weak electrolyte at infinite dilution. Second one is to find out degree of dissociation. Third one is to find out dissociation constant. Fourth one is to find out solubility and solubility product of sparingly soluble salts. Is it understood? So this is about the terms used and their application. Okay, terms used and their application. Now I will give you some numericals. I will give you some numerical and you can solve based upon the formulas. Okay, bye.